Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Business Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and business leaders in our community. I'm your host, Craig Whipperman, with Music City Action Coach, and today we're excited to introduce you to someone who has recently taken the plunge into small business ownership. Our guest today is Alex Mayorov, owner of Sam the Concrete Man here in Brentwood. We'll dive into Alex's background, explore the challenges he's faced, and the successes he's celebrated. Whether you're a fellow entrepreneur, an aspiring business owner, or simply someone who loves to support local businesses, this conversation is sure to inspire and inform. So without further ado, let's welcome Alex to the podcast. Alex, how are you doing today?
Hey, Craig, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you being a guest.
Of course.
Um, so for why don't you kick us off, man, and give us a little bit of your background and what you're currently involved in.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex Mayorov. I've lived in the Nashville area since about 2010. Prior to that, lived in Iowa, Minnesota, and I was actually born and raised in Russia. Um, been in the United States a little over 20 years. Came here with my family and, two suitcases and $1,200 to my name. And here I am, living in Brentwood, owning a small business, Sam the Concrete Man. It's kind of a new journey for me. I've only been at it for about 18 months or so. Prior to that, majority of my career has been in the corporate world, different accounting and finance roles for various companies, industries, company sizes, and things like that. So,
Fantastic. So, wow, you were born in Russia.
yeah, it's kind of a unique story, if you will. My dad won a green card lottery back in early 2000s. I believe that program is still going on, and that's how we get some other individuals from different countries around the world coming here and on the permanent visa, and then after 5 years in the States and kind of staying out of trouble, you can apply for a citizenship and claim your Social Security if that comes to that. Um, yeah, it was a interesting transition because we moved to Iowa of all places. Um, you know, grew up on a farm there, did a bunch of different farm jobs, detasseling, worked at a gas station, things like that. Built air conditioners, and graduated with 28 people. Really got baptized by a small, community around Marshalltown, Iowa, and still have great friends there. Just recently went back to that area for a wedding, so it was good to see a lot of the teachers and friends and things like that.
That's cool, man. That's
Yeah,
really awesome. And it's cool that you're still make your way back to Iowa, you know?
yeah, yeah,
You-
for sure. I mean, those people kind of took me under their wing, and I'm thankful for everything that they've done for me and my family, and forever be grateful.
Right. And so in college you studied finance or accounting or both?
Yeah, my degree was in business administration with a finance concentration.
Hmm.
I'm really good at math. I had to go to school 6 days a week in Russia, and the focus was a lot on, the STEM subjects, right? So the math and the science and geometry and things like that. That's what I decided to study in college. And my only ticket to college was actually came through an athletic path, right? As I said, we came here with basically nothing and didn't have anything to pay for college, and I actually started playing football in Iowa in high school, and
Hmm.
by my senior year, got a offer from a D2 college in Minnesota, and ended up taking it, and that's kind of what paid for my college.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
a fascinating story, man. You hear of stories like that, but you don't run into too many people who have actually experienced that, come to
yeah,
the United States and had essentially nothing and were able to make themselves into a small business owner like you are now, right?
right, right.
Share with us a little bit of that path. You came out of college and were in corporate roles for a while, and then now
Yeah,
you.
so after college, I just kind of got tired of the cold weather in Iowa and Minnesota, and my parents moved here during that time. So I decided to move down here after college, and uh, around May of 2010, the economy was still a little iffy from the 2008 recession. So I kind of bounced back from sales job to a sales job, and then got my first corporate job at Central Parking Corporation,
Mhm.
working in accounts payable. That's actually where I met my wife, uh, with whom we're married for over 10 years now and have two kids and really enjoy the Williamson County public schools.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's cool, man, that you actually had some experience in sales. I'm sure that's come in handy with your new gig here.
Yeah, so a little over or 12 years, had different finance and accounting roles, different companies. Worked at Vaco, Bridgestone, HCA, Santa Rosa Consulting. From about 2018 to 2023, I was the head of finance for a cybersecurity company. We did a spin out and got bought out by a publicly traded company at first, and then we divested back into a private equity ownership.
Hmm.
Um, so that was the last corporate role. And at the time, I've always kind of wondered what it would be like to own your own business. And that's when I started looking at what's out there and decided to pull the trigger with Sam the Concrete Man. Really like their brand and story and the business model. Brand has been established since 1989. They have about 100 locations nationwide now. We are the owners in the Middle Tennessee area, so I'm all over Middle Tennessee, from Goodlettsville down to Murfreesboro, from Lebanon to Dixon, and anywhere in between. Just driving around, doing appointments. Just like you said, Craig, being a small business owner, you have to wear a lot of hats, right? So I had to really fast get really good at sales. Otherwise, there's no revenue coming in.
Right.
Um, After that, you have to get really good at project management, especially when you are running and doing 3 or 4 or 5 different projects at the same time. Customer service, right? When you're dealing mostly with residential clients, you have to be good at customer service and, QAing and, looking at all sorts of different things and solving puzzles and kind of making those decisions on the go.
Yeah. So do you have techs working for you? Do you have crews working for you?
Yeah, yeah. So I have a couple of really good crews working for me. Guys have really great attitude, show up early, stay late. So it works nights, weekends if needed. Try not to overwork them, but it really depends on the week because I know we're getting into winter months and it's kind of starting to slow down a little bit. So
Mhm.
yeah, have all the right equipment and all the tools needed to get the job done.
That's awesome. And so um, you said that you once the company divested back into kind of a smaller company, I guess. That's when you decided that you wanted to explore the small business arena. That's kind of walk us through how you felt during that stage. Were you uh, were you hesitant? Were you uncertain? What kind of pushed you there?
Yeah, so it was kind of a scary moment at the time because again, you're used to having a nice salary and being in the office and have people reporting to you and commuting back and forth, and that's all pretty stable versus completely going off the rails and diving into something unknown.
Hmm.
So it's kind of scary at the time, but again, to me, franchise ownership in particular is a perfect middle step between being completely in the business world to completely going on your own, right? Because the franchise team and the main office, they provide a lot of services for us, all the back office operations, right? So they are the ones who are building your website and doing the SEO and putting out the marketing content, doing our accounting. Even though I have an accounting background, I'm kind of decided to outsource that. Business coaching, right? We kind of have monthly reviews with my business coach that's assigned to me. Plus, with about 100 locations nationwide, you have access to all of those folks who have, other owners who have been in the construction world for decades, right? Some of them have really technical backgrounds. So if you have a very specific question about a particular project, they're, super helpful and sharing their knowledge. So it's actually been a great community, because I know at times it can feel a little lonely, right? Especially it's just you and your truck driving around and talking to customers. So that platform kind of provides that community feel, like you're not you're not completely on your own.
Right. Right. I agree with you. I think franchising is is a good first step for anyone, looking to explore entrepreneurship because of the exact reasons that you provided. So tell us a little bit about Sam the Concrete Man. What do you guys actually do? What's the service you provide?
Yeah, so we specialize in flat concrete work, right? Driveways, walkways, patios, broom finish. See a lot of exposed aggregate, unfortunately, here in the Nashville area. Not sure who thought it was a great idea in the 60s and the 70s to install this pea gravel look, but requires more maintenance and it's cracking all over the place. But sometimes it's mandated by the HOA. You can't really get away from it. So we do install a lot of that. We do some decorative work as well, stamped and colored concrete. It's really fascinating because to me, I remember concrete, just pouring the footings and the foundation is the boring gray stuff. And now, you can make concrete look like cobblestone or bricks, or even make it look like hardwood, right, with stamped and colored designs. So we do a little bit of retaining walls, some landscaping, do some pavers as well. So, I like to give my customers option. It's not necessarily a one size fits all, and people have different taste and colors. So I'd like to give them options.
Yeah, right. And so I would imagine you don't get involved in, or do you, any new construction?
Not really.
Yeah.
That is probably one area of opportunity that I would be looking at, is to get connected to some custom builders and get into the more of a pre-construction phase where, like I said, we do pour some footings and foundations and driveways, garages, all those things. Another one I want to explore is more of on the industrial side. So we do some light commercial work, like building ramps and parking lots and things like that as well. But it's all about, building those relationships and kind of trying to explore where those people are, right? Because first getting started, I was in every networking event, trying to figure out what the right groups to join and things like that. So that has really been fun to figure out, where all those people are and how to build those relationships. And like I said, we're still trying to figure it out, but up until this point, residential has kept us very, very busy, especially in the summer months. It's been very strong. And I think now that the interest rates are kind of dropping, I think commercial is going to pick up as well. So I think it'll be the right time to look into building those relationships too.
Right. So I would think that you've been marketing then to homeowners then mostly. So what's your best way of attracting attention in the homeowner space there? How are you marketing your service?
Yeah, so majority of the leads come from Google and Facebook. We do pay-per-click campaigns, and Facebook has actually been really, really strong for us, because I was like, Facebook, why do people get on Facebook to find, services? But apparently a lot of people do. So again, that's where a majority of the leads come from. And it's all about being consistent with your content too, right? So it's really important to kind of upload those pictures and the videos of, hey, here's the latest project that we completed. It kind of helps with the algorithm and all of those things, which, in terms help you pop up towards the top of the Google page, which that's where we want to be, right?
Yeah, knowing how to work the SEO algorithms.
Exactly. That's been fascinating to me as well to learn is, just the tweaking of the small words. It's not necessarily just, hey, show me the concrete contractor near me. You can search for concrete driveways, concrete patios, or, questions. How can I fix my driveway? Right? Things
Mhm.
like that. You want to kind of pop up in every single one of those categories and be, top of mind of everybody.
Right.
Plus, I put in a lot of miles on my truck, and I have all the my truck is wrapped, so you can see all the Sam the Concrete Man logos and our phone number and the QR codes. Hopefully, not nobody's doing the QR codes while they're driving, but hopefully they kind of see us and help us, get our name out there and our brand.
Right. Right. So, um, what what do you see? What was the biggest challenge you had in starting your business, and maybe since starting your business? What's the biggest challenge you've had?
Um, to me, uh, it's the sales side of things, right? I'm not a salesperson. I'm not gonna sell you something you don't need. I'm not gonna call you and text you every single day. That's just not the type of person who I am.
Mhm.
If you really do need something, again, happy to show up, look presentable, get you a quote, be very punctual about following up and things like that. But again, other owners do have that sales background, and it really helps them close a lot more deals. But I'm not the pushy salesman because I remember starting right out of college when I was bounced from a sales job to a sales job. So I sold health and life insurance at first, which was like really, really rough. And then I sold cars at a car dealership too. So wasn't very good at it. They kind of had to let me go, and which, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did they offer you any sales training at the car dealership, or did they just put you out there?
They did. Again, that was straight out of college, so wasn't really sure that was what I wanted to do long term anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it was still, good learning experience. Everywhere I've been, I try to take the positive out of the experience and kind of, you know, get the best out of it, right?
Yeah. Right. So, looking back, and you've only been in business a year and a half. Um, you thinking you made the right decision? Sounds like you're pretty confident in what you're doing and where you're at.
I'm getting better and better every week and every month, I feel like. Um, So, like I said, still a lot of uh, growth opportunities, especially with different channel partners and relationships and things like that. And I kind of feel like Nashville, even though it's grown over the past 15 years that I've been here, it's still all about who you know, right, and who your connections are. And so I'm still trying to build my network and reach out to the right contacts, and see where that takes me.
Yeah. So I've heard the phrase, your network is your net worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of value to that. So what networking groups are you a part of?
So I checked out BNI, went to a couple of those meetings. Nashville Connect has actually been great. It's free
Mhm.
to attend. It's in different parts of town, so you get to meet a lot of cool different people there. There are construction specific associations that you can be a part of, like General Contractors Association. Um, so I kind of put all of those on pause because again, we were just so slammed in the summer, trying to keep up with the demand. But now again, when things are starting to slow down a little bit, probably be a good time to explore it.
Yeah. Um, and so did you say National Contract Association? Did I hear that
General
right?
Contractor
General
Association. Yeah.
Contractor.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I've heard good things about that.
Yeah. So have you attended any of those events?
I I have not. I have not.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like I've heard of that outfit as well. So what's the next like 3 years, 3 to 5 years look for you? What's your goal for the next 3 to 5 years?
Um, Good question. continue on with growth, right? See
Mhm.
where that takes me. First year is always the hardest. That's what everybody says. So as long as you survive that, um, you can continue to build on that momentum and continue to grow. Whether it's hiring more, salespeople that are a lot better at sales than me, and kind of taking the back seat and maybe look for other investments or tuck-in acquisitions. Eventually, you want to acquire as many cash flowing assets, whether it's an established business or real estate or whatever else. So you don't have to rely on that day-to-day job or that W-2 income or a salary so much.
Yeah, right. Um, so just curious, how's the franchise on offering sales training? Do they do a good job of that?
Yeah, so as part of the onboarding, we had to go to Colorado for a week
Hmm.
and spend a lot of time in the classroom as well as out in the field. So you're in the classroom, you're learning everything from contracting to printing on site, to the verbiage, how to deal with your crew, how to project manage, how to talk to customers. And then you go out in the field and actually see and do those appointments and measure it out and see what the gotchas are, and try to calculate that proposal. And as well as we were able to see a couple of jobs being poured as well, right? So it's interesting to see, how to get set up, what's the right way to set up, what does the prep work look like. So there's a lot of different factors when it comes to concrete pouring. It's not just come in and pour and get out. A lot of it has to do with the prep work.
Hmm.
If you can't get that right, your concrete is not going to be right. All the measurements are super important. The forms are being set up correctly. So there's a lot of different factors to consider. So
Right.
the training was very, very helpful. And after that, they kind of said, go on and make your mistakes, because you are going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So we went back and ran with that, and we're at it for a couple of weeks, and then they send your business coach actually to you to make sure what else is outstanding, what they can help you with. So they were with us in the field for a couple of days, seeing how we're doing our appointments, how we're setting up our schedule, and things like that. So they stay pretty involved, and like I said, they're always open to suggestions and questions, and being very, very helpful.
Great. So a year and a half in, looking back at it, is there anything you do differently?
Um, I don't know. I'd probably save up a lot more money so it wasn't as tight last winter.
Yeah.
Hope it's not as tight this winter either. Um, but no, I think it's like I said, anywhere I've been, any position, any company, it's all great experience, right? So um, even if this doesn't work out, I always have my corporate uh, career to fall back on. And if anything, being an entrepreneur and being a small business owner can definitely make you a better executive or a leader in the corporate world as well, right? Because you appreciate every single part of the business, right? Whether it's from the sales and the marketing and all those other things that people do, project management. Because in the corporate finance world, to me, there was always sales team and operations team, and you're kind of in the
Hmm.
middle trying to make sure they don't kill each other. Um, but now you kind of see when all those things uh, kind of row in the same direction, and everyone has that goal in sight, that it can become a very beautiful thing, right?
Right. And that's, I think communication is paramount for that to happen, right? And
Yeah.
making sure, of course, getting all the people on the same page, and making sure you're hiring you know, for people who have the character that you're looking for, right?
Mhm.
And who can fit into your culture. Uh,
Yeah.
and then once you establish, great communication amongst the team and in between, then you're set for success, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, Craig. And that's kind of the reason we got into this business, is because we would just have the hardest time getting people to show up to our house, whether it's cleaning gutters, cutting trees down, doing anything. I mean, people would just not show up, right? or
Mm-hmm.
even after they do show up and give you a quote, like they would ghost you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, you know, the least I can do is just show up and look presentable and give you my honest opinion. And if you decide to go with me, great. If you decide to go with somebody cheaper, or if you think I'm incompetent, that's fine too, right? I just always try to ask for that feedback and try to figure out, you know, why did you go with me? Why didn't you go with me?
Mm-hmm.
And all those things. And like you said, communication is key, right? So again, showing up on time, it counts for a lot, right? And then following up, is there anything else I can do for you? How can I help you with the HOA submission? If the permits are involved, what can I help you do with the city? You know, and the same thing with the job start, right? We're going to start Monday morning at 8 a.m. I will be here. I will introduce you to my crew. I'll introduce you to my foreman. Feel free to talk directly to them or call me, text me. I'll be available. So we're all on the same page, because it's very important to get it right before you pour concrete, because after you pour concrete, it's done, you know.
Yeah. After you pour concrete, it can be a little bit messy to fix.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's really cool. So tell me, you know, it sounds like the franchise does a great job of providing you training. And of course, you know, there's the technical piece of running the business, everything you've kind of described, but then we got a little bit into there too about setting your culture, you know, making sure that you're the right leader and that you're bringing the right people into the organization. What source of knowledge or insight are you using, or is the franchise helping you out on that as well?
Yeah, it's, you know, everything I know about concrete was either because of the franchise or just by trial and error, right?
Hmm.
Um, First couple of months, first couple of jobs were really, really eye-opening, and I basically camped out there and kind of watched over the guys, and I'm like, they're probably like thinking I'm creeping them out, you know, just kind of sitting there and staring at them. But again, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, they're not cutting corners, they're, you know, doing what they're supposed to be doing, as well as it was just interesting for me to see how they're doing it here, right? Because all over the nation, you know, they do concrete different ways, right? Up north, everything has to have rebar in it. Same thing out west, but in the East Coast, I mean, they pour concrete right on top of sand. And I was like, first time I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, are you sure you're supposed to be doing that? I was like, oh yeah, that's how we always do it. I'm like, that's interesting. So a lot of it has to do with the technical things, and I guess one other thing that I forgot to mention is getting certified by the American Concrete Institute, right? So that was before we even came out to training. They're like, it's going to be really helpful and really important for you to get certified by American Concrete Institute. So you have to take classes and learn all the technical things about compaction and, you know, slumps and, you know, what's in the concrete, what kind of mixes are different than others, what kind of additives you can add to it. So that was really good learning experience, just getting certified by ACI.
Yeah. So, Alex, man, it's been great having you on the podcast. Can I ask you one more question?
Absolutely, Greg.
So, are you a reader?
Since I spent a lot of time in my truck going from appointment to appointment, I have been listening to audiobooks. Not a reader per se, but
Hmm.
you know, I do enjoy some books about business and entrepreneurship and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any that stick out that you would recommend that has provided you kind of a good source of information?
Yeah. So, you know, I'll go with the classics of, you know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure everyone has heard about that one. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon
Mm-hmm.
Hill. Some of the new ones, Alex Hermosi,
Hmm.
$100 million offer.
Yep.
Um, that's a good one. So yeah, I think those are the ones that kind of stand out to me.
Yeah. Those are all good ones. You know, one of my favorites is Stephen Covey's, you know, Seven Habits of Highly Effective
Yep,
People.
I've
I
read
mean,
that
what
one.
that was read in the, I mean, it was written in the probably the 80s, you know, but it's such basic, simple stuff.
Yeah.
that everything else is built upon,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Some of the business basics haven't changed in decades or probably centuries, like you said, Craig. So
right,
it's really, really fascinating
right, right,
with it,
right,
especially how fast things change with the technology and implementation and things like that. But yeah, again, the core things of, leadership and all those intangible skills are not changing.
right, exactly. I mean, it's like the building blocks, right?
Yeah,
You can't make it into the next phase of leadership without the basic building blocks of,
exactly.
what those provide. So, anyway, well, Alex, again, it's been great having you on the podcast. Thanks for sharing your time, sharing your history and insight and background. It's pretty fascinating that you and your family came over here and have made it. It's awesome. That you're part of the Nashville community here. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me. And again, thank you for doing this. I think this is super important to kind of get our message out there. And like I said, build a community. It's always better to have a community of like-minded people around you, and so you don't feel as lonely.
Right, right. Well, thanks again, Alex. We'll talk again.
Thanks, Craig.